Okay, MegaWhale team, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Bitcoin is absolutely soaring, reaching a price of 66,000 upon the breakout of the horizontal 14-day long consolidation. Will Bitcoin continue upwards? What are the macro implications of this rally? Are we going to see this 230-day long range end? And what are the macro charts suggesting? These are topics we're answering in the video today. Before we get into it, smash that like button, hit that comment button, and subscribe to the channel. We post daily videos of Bitcoin focusing on the facts, the data, the technical, and the structural information. No hype, no BS, no emotion, pure raw TA. If that is the kind of content you are interested in, join us on Telegram. It is the first link down below. You'll get access to charts, updates, videos, educational posts, news events, and everything you need to stay in the loop with cryptocurrency, with Bitcoin, and the relevant economic news. And if you are interested in taking your trading to the next level, join our VIP channel. You can contact me in the pinned comment of the free channel by clicking my name. We have our entire trading track record right over here and a video showing you inside the channel itself. Over 44 months of trading data, 648 members. You can find our trading setups with the exact entry prices, exact targets, exact stop losses, trade justification, exclusive analysis, and so much more, including access to our group chats, our general chat, our trading chart and education chat, daily videos, help, news, and trade setup chat. Check it all out, guys, and let's dive on in. So taking a look at the price action, if you have been following suit, if you've been following along on the channel, you would know we have been watching for a break of 66,000 for a long time. We said we are very bullish above this, 64,000. We are very bullish above 64,000. In fact, we were expecting a move to 66,000 upon the breakout of that $64,000 region. And we have now seen a strong move up to 66,000 as a direct consequence of us breaking out of this 14-day long horizontal consolidation. So congratulations to everyone who caught that move. Now, I have stated a few times on this channel that I believe 66,000 is actually one of the most important levels for Bitcoin, as not only is it a major horizontal resistance, being that of the prior high before the breakdown, but of course, it is going to be the point of which, if we are able to break above, it will be establishing the fact that we are developing a new higher high for Bitcoin, really going ahead and developing the pattern which we have been in, which is our low, our higher low, our higher low, our high, our higher high, and even developing a new higher high. This is an indication that the buyers over the period of this time, between August onwards, are actually developing and gaining strength as the price action moves, and this massively influences the possibility for an actual break of this 230-day range. I know that's crazy, we've been in this range for so long, but if we take that with the context of that, we have positive momentum on the weekly chart. Taking a look at the weekly chart, we can already see right over here, looking at that RSI, we can start to see it curving upwards. We're starting to see the drops in the RSI decrease, and we actually starting to see an uptrend develop here on the RSI, signifying that the sellers have exhausted. The sellers are out. We only now have a buyer's market. The market is developing and gaining strength as it is moving upwards into the range high. And if we note the prior retest, this will be the first retest out of all of these retests of the last 230 days that will be retesting the range high from a position of positive strength, which is fantastic. But we'll come back to all of this in just a moment. Let's move over to our market data. Now, with all saying that, there is still a possibility for a correction because 66K is a major resistance. We'll talk about that in a second. Market data, 24-hour volume, 99%, sorry, 174 billion. Insane liquidations, 128%, 240 million, 205 million coming from short liquidations, 34 million coming from long liquidations. Crazy volatility there, guys. Fantastic. DXY still moving upwards, not too much happening here. really watching that change of character, that red line, as well as our prior lows, particularly our stronger lows at 99 and 100. Until then, more or less chopping sideways, as it has been doing since 2023. S&P 500 coming very close to our 6,000 target, yet again making a brand new high at just over 5,900. If you've been following the channel, we have been looking for 6,000 ever since the breakout over here. This is May 2023. We have been targeting 6,000 and we are now very, very close to it, guys. So coming very close to our target here, 6,000. We are expecting 6,000 to be reached, provided our weekly high at 5,700 is able to sustain. We hold above here, we go to 6,000. It is simple as that. We drop below here, we retest these weekly and yearly low points. Let's go ahead and jump into Bitcoin now. Before we do, if you want to support me and support yourself trading, support the videos and the channel, sign up to BitGet, BitUnix, or BingX for 15% off all your trading fees with the links down below. You can sign up to any of those exchanges, choose the one that suits you and your region best. Again, you'll get a lifetime discount of 15%. We'll play a quick ad from one of them and we'll jump back into the video. I'd like to introduce our partner, BitUnix. BitUnix is a global non-KYC, no country restriction exchange, making it a perfect exchange to trade on if you're from the USA, from Canada, the Netherlands, or just prefer to trade without KYC. This exchange is a futures and spot exchange with over 200 different trading pairs and some of the lowest fees in the game. If you sign up with my link down below, you'll get access to 15% off your trading fees, as well as an exclusive reward center where you can claim up to a multitude in USDT prizes. So go ahead and sign up with my link down below for 15% off, and I'll see you in there. Okay guys, let's go ahead and get stuck back into it. And we're going to start by talking about this macro range and the implications of this recent rally, and then go down to the short term and discuss the possibility for a move up to the range high, or even a short-term pullback, since Bitcoin has literally rallied like $3,000 to $4,000 in the last 48 hours, which is a crazy amount in the grand scheme of things. So taking a look at our range, like we said already, Bitcoin is still within the confines of this macro descending channel formation. We discussed very briefly in the intro how that during the course of the last 2 months, since August, we have been starting to see a uptrend of it. This is a very, very different structure as opposed to the first few months of this consolidation. In the first few months of the consolidation, we saw consecutive lower highs and we saw consecutive lower lows. This is an indication that the bears were in control and the price was moving in this stronger downtrend, okay? Now, since that point of around August, we saw momentum flip positive as per the weekly RSI breaking upwards through the downtrend, what we showed you in the intro. And since that point, the trend has flipped. We've actually started to see momentum rising, and this trend line has been respected. We have an uptrend represented by this diagonal trend line. And with that, we have been developing higher lows, which is good, and higher highs. Again, indicative of the fact that the buyers are developing a sense of control and are actually showing us that the sellers are starting to exhaust. And this is typical to what we see at the end of these descending channel formations, at the end of any bullish consolidation, because remember, bullish consolidations start bearish. If you look at a falling wedge pattern, okay, it is a downtrend, right? But it is a bullish consolidation, right? That is just one example. A descending channel formation is similar. It starts bearish and eventually the selling pressure dries up and the buyers take back control and push the price higher. So eventually we do start to see the buyers step in, and this is kind of what we're seeing. At the end of these consolidations, we generally start to see momentum flip positive. We generally start to see a short-term uptrend develop, which we are seeing, and we generally start to see the price behave in a structure of which that is representative of those two key metrics, which we are seeing with the higher lows and higher highs. Now, with this consolidation, we are not out of the woods, of course. There are a few things we do need to note. Number one, that while we are in a descending channel formation, this is a descending channel, meaning the probabilities, although in the grand scheme of things, are still in favor of directional continuations upwards. Now, a lot of people have been contesting that idea, but we have to stick to what the charts are suggesting. Again, there's a statistical preference in regards to a move upwards from a descending channel formation, then an invalidation toward the low side. You can argue that all you want, but that is what the probability suggests. And in fact, that is what the weekly and daily data is suggestive of as well. We'll come back to that in a second. But for now, that is the expectation. But it's important to understand that this move upwards is not going to play out unless the range high of the channel is broken. Will we break over here? Will we break down over here? It is irrelevant. The point is the macro continuation upwards, or the extension out of this consolidation, is only expected at the point at which the consolidation breaks. Just like this horizontal consolidation, only upon the breakout of the consolidation is the continuation from the channel expected. The same applies to a descending channel formation. So for that, we are looking for a daily candle close above the range high. The price point of that currently is around 68,000. 68,000 break will result in a continuation up to our prior strong high, and then goes on from there. We are expecting higher. Looking at the measured move of this range high to range low applied to a perceived breakout point, that would take us into the $80,000 region. So this channel is targeting 80,000. That is the bullish perspective. Let's talk about the bad things and the worrying signs we need to pay attention to. Now, I'm not too concerned about these. The reason why is because while we sustain above 64,000, we are inherently going to be targeting 68. We are bullish for 68. Only if we drop back below 64,000 do we run the risk of what I'm about to say next. So until that happens, we are definitely bullish. We're definitely expecting continuations, but let's talk about what could happen, just worst case scenario. If we lose 64,000 again, we do run the risk of corrections on that RSI, which could result in momentum flipping negative. And only upon the breakdown of this RSI trendline would I be worried for a retest of this uptrend. Now, retesting the uptrend isn't the end of the world. It is if we drop below this uptrend prior to breaking out of this consolidation. These merge at some point. So either we're going to break through this diagonal trend line, and this is a very interesting point because this kind of gives us an expected date of which we can see a breakout. Either we break out of this uptrending, we break out of the downtrending diagonal consolidation before January 2025, or we break this uptrend. The break of the downtrend results in a continuation upwards, okay? And the break of the uptrend will result in momentum flipping negative, and the price could sweep back down into these lows. I do not think this is the likely scenario. I believe we are not going to break this uptrend. I do not believe we're going to swing back into these lows. The reasons I say I don't believe that is because as a consequence of doing so, we will very likely see the 50 EMA break, we will likely see the upper band of the Gaussian channel break, and we will likely see the Ichimoku cloud break on the weekly. And we know that a break of the weekly Ichimoku cloud and Gaussian channel highs generally indicate a pivot and macro reversal, and we do not expect that to occur while we are in an inherently bullish structure with developing strength and building positive momentum. And therefore, I do not say it is likely we see a breakdown of this trend line. We could see the price fluctuate a little bit before continuing upwards, perfectly normal. As long as we continue to create these higher lows, it is going to be expected that we break through this trend line and continue upwards. But we need to be aware of that downside risk because trading is about probabilities, it is not about certainties, and you do not want to be stuck unsure of what is occurring when something happens that you are not ready for. So be aware of that. Fantastic, guys. Let's move to the short term. So an amazing breakout for Bitcoin, really, and if you've been following the channel, we saw a rising wedge formation. We expected a correction to 62. From 62, we expected a move to 66. We have played this absolutely perfectly, so congratulations. But 66K is now going to be the resistance. As we mentioned prior, we have our equal highs over here. This level is a level of resistance. If we move to the 6-hour chart to show you a little clearer on the higher time frame, you can see right over here that Bitcoin is trying to break through this resistance as we speak. If we look at that RSI, we can draw our highs in, our equal highs over here. We are still underneath this region. So do we have the momentum required to see a strong and immediate continuation higher? I'd be a little skeptical on that personally. I think this is a good opportunity to maybe enter some high risk longs. I'd be looking for altcoins that are primed to break macro downtrends. I'd be looking for altcoins that have established very high time frame supports that could rebound from and see continuations and macro reversals. But I'd also be aware that, you know, we do have this RSI trend line. we could see a small pullback now that we are in resistance, and I don't believe that pullback will take us very deep. Like I said, I actually don't think we're going to see a drop below 64,000. We may see a drop into 65,000 before we continue, or we may break this RSI and directly continue upwards. But we do have to be aware that after we see these massive vertical moves, it is unwise to just expect these vertical moves to just continue to forever. The price has to see some sort of either pullback or horizontal consolidation. Taken prior examples such as this vertical move over here, we didn't necessarily see a pullback, but we saw a period of horizontal consolidation where the momentum reset, and again, the price was able to facilitate that continuation into the next leg. So whether or not we see a small correction here or a horizontal move before we continue is really indifferent. The main thing is that if we do see any correction, 64,000 is that level we sustain above, and that is really it. So I do expect continuations to 68, and which that is going to be the range high, okay? And if we look at the short term, if we look at the next resistance, right, we're zooming out here and we're going to really take a look at this price action. If we look at this entire range of price action over here, you know, the next point of major resistance, we can see that VRPV is dropping off, right? The VRPV is dropping off, it's weakening. So what does that tell us? It's tell us selling pressure or perceived resistance at these horizontal levels in price action, along the price from 66,000 into 70,000, is actually decreasing. And this is fantastic because it means as we push upwards, there is less and less resistance, which allows momentum to start building and bullish volatility to start building, which facilitates an environment which will increase the likelihood of a breakout of this resistance, which is why I'm saying it is actually quite probable the next test of this resistance will be the one we break out on. It is probable that we are going to be exiting this 230-day range sooner than later. It is probable that we are going to see a continuation higher, and it is very, very likely a lot of people who have been expecting this channel to be bearish are going to be sorely mistaken when they realize this was not the top for Bitcoin. And I'll get into that in another video, but let's go ahead, guys, and move over back to the short term. So again, this is going to be the next target for Bitcoin. Indefinitely $70,000 will, by obvious means, be above 68, and 68 is that resistance. So put it simply, if we move to the next resistance, we are inevitably breaking out of 68,000, which is the range high of this channel formation. Moving over to the macro charts, like we said already, there are some key levels we are still watching. Just because the price action is going up, just because you're in longs, just because you're making money, doesn't mean you shouldn't be looking at the counter arguments. A lot of people get complacent in their positions. Now, this is a very big thing that a lot of people really need to pay attention to. A lot of people get complacent in their positions when their positions are doing very well, and they ignore or they become, like I said, complacent to the possibility that at some point, these positions will turn around. At some point, the top of your moves will be in, and at some point, the uptrend is going to end. And if you're complacent, you're not being perceptive, you're not being aware, and you're definitely not in a mindset where you're actively searching for when those reversal points are in. And for the most time, a lot of people end up missing the best opportunities to sell, and instead of being able to act and accept and actually take their profits, they are unable to react, and they end up holding their bags to zero. So it's very important that when we're looking at these trends, we can talk about how it's going up to, we can talk about how it's going to break up, we can talk about how it's looking fantastic. It's also important to talk about, well, at what point is this wrong? At what point is it time to exit? At what point is it time to take profits? At what point is the trend starting to shift? Like I always say, being a bull or a bear is going to do harm. Never categorize yourself as a bull, never categorize yourself as a bear. You are a trader or you're an investor. You take no preference in direction, you simply execute your strategy in the hopes to make a profit. The direction or categorization of you on team bull or team bear is petty. It is something that is developed by influencers to garner communities and make views on whatever they want to do. I think it's a total load of crap personally. And I'm telling you, it's not going to do anything for your mental health, and it's not going to do anything for your ability to trade with clarity. So speaking on that, like we said already, weekly Ichimoku Cloud, weekly Gaussian channel invalidations, pay attention. That's it for the video, guys. Stay fantastic video, I hope, and I hope you learned a lot. And most importantly, guys, stay aware, Try reduce your emotions, and even if we do start to see that price action rallying aggressively, always remember to take your profits. Thanks for tuning in. Catch you guys in the next one on Thursday. Join the Telegram, sign up to below, link first link, and we'll see you then.